Hey there guys, welcome back to Texas Beer Reviews, and on this episode we will be looking at Cigar City's White Oak High Alai. This is their India Pale Ale High Alai, aged on white oak. So, this is courtesy of White Boy, so thank you very much, Matt. And this one was canned on October 21st, so this may actually be the freshest can of White Oak High Alai I've had. Usually the ones I've had have been a few months out. I mean, the fact they already aged it on oak, it doesn't need to be super fresh, but I'm pretty excited to try this one this fresh. So, anyway, so I have it's got a little description back here, but I've had this beer before a few times, and Cigar City is out of Florida, specifically Tampa. They just got some label approval here too. Oscar Blues New Brewery in Austin will be brewing some of their beers, from what I understand. It should be just the regular type of shelf stuff that they do. High Alai, probably Maduro, things like that. But High Alai, they're all really good beers too. Especially for just their regular lineup. So, but this one's a little bit more limited. So anyway, let's check it out. Okay. So, pours out this slightly hazy, kind of a orange amber color. Big off-white, just off-white head. Probably a little bit of chill haze, but check out the aroma. Oh yeah. So, you definitely get kind of the typical characteristics of High Alai, which is it's pretty citrusy. I get a lot of orange from High Alai. Some nice grassy hops, a bit of a malt backbone, but definitely that citrus from the hops is the kind of the forefront of the beer. But on the white oak or whatever, this version, definitely getting some oak and getting a bit of vanilla too. The last can I had a ton of vanilla. So getting a little bit of that vanilla, getting some of that oak. It's a little bit earthy, a bit of that resinous character, but it smells very well overall balanced with a nice big citrus citrus character, and then some oak and vanilla. So check out the taste. Cheers. The barrel is definitely a lot more prevalent, I guess, on the taste. Definitely getting the citrus, and the orange, and that grapefruit, a bit of that malt backbone, those grassy, slightly resinous hops. Not a whole lot of earth or resin, honestly, on the taste. But the barrel is pretty big. Definitely getting some oak, getting a bit of that vanilla. It's got that. Interesting because, if you've ever had barrel-aged IPAs, which some breweries do, it's usually got a lot of that big caramel quality because, it's an IPA. It kind of turns into sort of a hoppy barley wine in that regard. And this is kind of this nice mix. You get some of that barrel character, a bit of that caramel, some of that vanilla and oak, but you definitely get the base beer as well too. I mean, you get the citrus, get the malt a bit, and it's not super malt heavy or anything. It's really well balanced, but with a bit more on the citrus. Shut my phone off here. It's going off. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, very very nice balance in between like a completely barrel aged IPA and a fresh IPA. Mouthfeel is nice, medium full. Carbonation is typical for an IPA, a little bit softer carb on the finish, but it's nice and prickly up front, so kind of has that balance going on. So I'm gonna see if I had a ABV on it. I think. Oh, here we go. 7.5. I knew Alai was close to that double IPA range. So yeah, 7.5%. Don't get the alcohol at all, of course. So anyway, we'll see if they have. So on the description here, it talks about vanilla, slight hints of dill on the aroma. I wasn't picking up dill. Well, maybe a little, but I think that, I mean, we kind of get that on most barrel-aged beers or of that kind of this sort of style, bit of that malt, bit of those hops, you know, kind of from, I don't know what I'd say, American barley wines a little bit. Maybe a hint of it. I don't know if I'd say, like I mentioned, I didn't pick it out before, so I wouldn't expressly say it's dill. You know, you're not getting anything pickly, or you think of dill, you think of like dill pickles, you know, whatever. Pickles brewed with or not brewed dill, but I'm not saying that I really get dill. I mean, it's just kind of, I think that's that mix between the hops and the barrel that kind of gives it that sort of feel. A lot more vanilla though, and as this warms, last can I got a lot more vanilla and starting to notice it a little bit more, which is really cool. So there's a sweetness up front through the mid palate almost into the finish, and then it dries out pretty well. It's got a bit of bitterness, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's an assertive bitterness. I think it's a moderate to light bitterness on it. Yeah. I mean, it even says hot bitterness is more restrained. So, anyway, I love this stuff. I think White Oak Alai is really good, especially because I like barrel, you know, I can drink barrel-aged IPAs and stuff like that. But I prefer, I don't know, if I'm going to drink something like that where it kind of ends up tasting sort of like an American barley wine, I'd rather do an English barley wine. I like more malt-forward, sweet kind of things like that. I'm not as big in aged hops that are barrel-aged, you know, or hop, like kind of like that, especially when it's like an IPA or something that's fresh hopped, and then you barrel age it, and the hops kind of have this really sort of dry, earthy, kind of stale-like character that I pick out of those. So anyway, not really getting this here, especially in this can being pretty fresh. But I think Highlight is done very, very well. It's a nice balance between a barrel-aged IPA and a fresh IPA. This is an easy 4.25 out of 5 for me. Probably somewhere in between 4.25 and 4.5 because I think it's just so well done. You know, every time I have this, it's always very tasty. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. So, thank you again, Matt. And as always, think global, drink local, and cheers.